What's up guys, it's Will here, back again, and today I'm here to excitedly review the InArt Lord of the Rings Gandalf figure from the Fellowship of the Ring. Guys, before we get started, I want to let you guys know I picked up mine at a discounted rate from 1/6 Kit. If you want to check out this figure and 1/6 Kit, there is a link in the description below. As me recording this video, Kit does not have more, but I'm thinking he may get some at some point. That said, let's jump into the video. All right, guys, so now we're on to the unbox and chill segment. This is the segment where we unbox and literally chill. Guys, as you can see here, this is the InArt Gandalf box here. I love the InArt packaging of the two figures I have received thus far. The Joker figure, that was a big ass box, to be frank, maybe even too big, but this Gandalf figure, dude, the box is just awesome, man. The art design, it's sort of like, I mean, it's very similar to Hot Toys, I guess you could say, but I think it feels like a little more premium in that sense. Maybe it's sort of like me convincing myself it's a little bit premium just because it is an expensive piece, but I do think the box is really, really dope. Honestly, it just looks and feels premium, and everything about it feels very satisfying. You can see here there's an InArt sort of envelope. There's actually a letter in that, so I'll show you guys that a little bit later. There's some instructions as well, which I will also show you, but to get you started, that's at least getting you excited for the unboxing experience, giving you some brief instructions and a thank you note and things like that to get you kind of excited. So first thing we got to unbox is this head sculpt and see what all the rage is about. Guys, first impressions are very positive. This head sculpt is phenomenal. I actually have gotten used to the idea of InArt putting the rooted head sculpts in a separate tube like that, just to preserve the integrity of the rooted hair, because over time, if you had the head on the body, it could displace the hair styling, and there are products in this hair. You can smell them, and it is styled very effectively. So you do want to maintain that. It's a little bit of a trick to get it off, so you got to twist the head and then pull it off, but you'll see, don't use too much force. You will break something, I promise you. Okay, guys, so looking at the body, tailoring is actually very strong in this one. You can see the robe on mine came a little bit sort of bent out of the box. I think that's just how the figure was laying in the box. I fixed that relatively quickly. I didn't have to do anything. I just needed to get it out of the box, set it up on the stand, and boom, there you go. The robe actually sort of adjusted itself over time. But you can see the belt there. We have the sword sheath that we'll actually put into that belt on there. And the robes are actually really, really nice. They feel good quality. They fit Gandalf's body really nice and snugly. So overall, pretty great. Very impressed so far. Guys, there's a book here as well. You know what's super cool about this book? That there are actually pages inside and they have writing text on them. There's actual text within them, super tiny. You could read it if you wanted to, but damn, this is attention to detail right here. I love it. I love that the textbooks actually have some writing inside them instead of just being blank pages. They didn't half-ass that. Nothing was half-assed with this figure at all. So you can see the hands here, a lot of detail, sort of spotted paint apps on the hands there to indicate obviously Gandalf's old age, but this is super great, man. There's a lot of detail on the hands there. Really, really loving him. Hot Toys does that somewhat to a degree. You can see these hands, they will have magnets inside. They peg in a little bit differently. These are actually lights that go up in that crystal, as you can see there, that go in one of the staffs. They're easy to turn on and off. You just kind of pull the light in and out, and then you're good. And then we have a letter here. So the letter, you could have Gandalf sort of mailing something to USPS if you wanted, but you have a letter that you can do stuff with. You have a pipe. Gandalf was doing it before Colorado and before it was cool. So Gandalf has a pipe here that you can mess with and do stuff with. We got a die-cast sword. You can sheath that. You can put it in his hand. It is heavy, but awesome. It holds in the hand fine. It doesn't weigh the arm down, maybe over time, but as of now, no. There's a sheath. You can put that carefully into his belt, and then you can put the sword within. It plugs in nicely, safely, and securely. Here is one of the staffs. You know, one of the staffs you can plug in that little light crystal that I mentioned. The one doesn't. It's just sort of a staff without that ability, but you have options. So this is the second staff. As you can see, you can do multiple things with it. You can hang it, you can hold it, you can do whatever you want to do. But the staffs are actually real wood as far as I'm aware. They feel like real wood to me. So I'm going to say that they are. Here's the base. Magnetic base, still not overly thrilled with how the magnetic bases are working, but I think it's better. I do think it's definitely better than it was with the Joker, but a lot of detail in these bases. I want to use them if I can, but you just got to be really safe and careful. I still don't know how stable they are long-term, but For now, just be super careful using them. Don't have your figure fall over. Here's the fireworks. This is something that they added last minute, and I will never use them, but they look cool. I think they look pretty cool. I'm glad they added them. Here's actually a cloak that you can see. So the cloak actually can go over Gandalf. It's not something that I probably plan on using much. I will show you guys some footage with the cloak on, but the cloak is a nice touch. It gives you options, right? Sort of like having a Jedi in his normal tunic and with the cloak or without. Here's a mushroom firework. So this is pretty cool also. If fireworks are your thing, then this is actually gonna be a cool accessory for you. So this is the hat, and you can see they put like a little bit of cotton in there, which I found pretty interesting. I guess it's to shield the hair and the head sculpt from any sort of damage or staining over time. So I'm assuming that's what that is there for. The hat sort of has like a rod in it, I feel, and you can move it around. Not real sure on this hat. I think this hat might be an L, to be honest, but I think that overall it is nice to have it, but it's going to take a lot of work, I think, to make it look good, would be my impression. So yeah, we'll see what you guys think. Here's actually a bag that you can use with Gandalf as well. You can have it sort of resting over his shoulder or on his side or whatever. And yeah, it's a nice little pouch if you want some extra accessories and Gandalf carrying some stuff and traveling around. So anyway, guys, let's move on to the accessory section of the video. You can see this boy comes with quite a bit. A sword, a sheath, 2 staffs, a bunch of hands, a moth, a pipe, you know, the stand, of course, the hat, the cloak, the lights, the fireworks, the book, the pouch there. This is almost starting to feel like a Lim Toys figure. This is a lot of stuff here. You know, those who have the Arthur Morgan will know what I'm talking about. But the InArt Joker is also very similar. It also comes with these cards. They're really nice. Like, again, they're just a small little thing, but they help the package and overall experience feel premium when you're unboxing it. You're like, this is dope. I love this. And there's the letter I referenced earlier. They gave you like sort of a thank you letter saying like, oh, Gandalf is great. Thank you for buying this and supporting InArt. Really cool. And they give you an instruction manual. It's honestly, I like it a lot better than the Hot Toys one. This one, again, just feels a little more premium. It's the same content mostly, but I'm gonna give the accessories a 5 overall. There's a lot to do with these figures. But articulation, InArt made this one super easy for me. You know what they did? They laid out all the articulation in the booklet, showing all the articulation points, how far it can go, and pretty much everything you would want to know. I'm still going to show you guys me just kind of like twisting and turning the figure around. But articulation, honestly, you can pretty much do anything you want with this guy. The hand pegs are magnetic. They still have like sort of a peg joint, but they're much easier to get on and off than they are with Hot Toys. So I do like that, and I'm really starting to get used to them. And I think this one is much better than the Joker. Overall, I think this figure is better than the Joker in pretty much every way. I think the head sculpt is better. I think overall there's some refinements in terms of the magnets on the hands. They feel more secure. I think that overall the base feels more secure, although still not perfect. I think there's just a win all around. Articulation, though, we're giving a 5. 5 out of 5. It moves. It does whatever you want. It's fabric. It works great. Let's talk about character. Let's talk about Ian McKellen's Gandalf. Guys, this is an iconic character. Anyone who's a fan of Lord of the Rings knows this is one of the big 3 of Lord of the Rings. There's Gandalf, and of course, there's Aragorn and Legolas, and you got Frodo and Sam, and of course, all the others. But honestly, the big trio 3 are the ones that probably most collectors are going to want to go after more often than not. And I'm glad that Gandalf is one of the ones that they knocked out first, because this is a home run, guys. Honestly, look, I love Carnage. I think this might be figure of the year. This is the best head sculpt I've ever seen in person. I don't mean to be hyperbolic. When I unboxed this thing, I was like, holy cow, this thing is incredible. This is an amazing head sculpt. I mean, just look at that. You have to fuss with the hair and the beard a little bit, you know, just mess with it a little bit, get it to your liking. But overall, I feel like out of the box, it still comes out really nice. And it's just a lot of detail and head sculpt. Paint quality is just off the charts. The tailoring is great. You can put him with the cloak, you cannot. Overall, this character is great, though. This is Gandalf. He's iconic. He's Lord of the Rings. He's one of the, you know, look, you will not pass, right? This is one of the most iconic lines in cinema. And that, for me, gets a 5 out of 5 on character, because Gandalf is fantastic. That said, let's talk about presence. I think this guy has a ton of presence just because the rooted hair and the fantastic, phenomenal head sculpt. I think this figure's head sculpt is gone above and beyond what we expected. I think it's as good as the prototype. It is phenomenal, fantastic. Every adjective you can think of that's positive, this figure surpasses it. I really am super impressed with how this figure looks on a shelf and in display. You can pose him, you can do whatever you want with him. The head sculpt looks phenomenal. And again, there's so many good things about this figure. I think the presence is just really off the charts. If you have a Lord of the Rings collection or you're trying to build a Lord of the Rings collection, this guy is going to be an integral part of it. I mean, of course, there's obviously other options out there like Asmus, and InArt is obviously a little bit slower with completing lines, but I think this one's going to be essential. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the hat is a bit of an L. You can maybe tweak this, articulate it a little bit, try to change it. I was not really able to get it to a point where I felt good about it. I'm never really going to use that hat. Again, there's that cotton I was referring to. And you can see the sort of articulated like wire within the hat. You can move it and adjust it, but I couldn't really get it to a point where I felt good about it. Again, I think the hat is an L. I think this is a miss on InArt's part, but it might just take a lot of work to make it look good. That said, look, if you want to use the hat, be my guest. But for me, without the hat, he looks fantastic. And I hate covering up that sculpt. That sculpt is so good. And the hair, the rooted hair is so good. You don't want to cover that up, I promise you. So you can see here in just the tailoring too, the presence on this guy with the base and just everything involved is just really strong. This is a very lifelike figure. And for that reason, on presence, I'm going to give this boy a 5 out of 5. It is just a phenomenal figure all around. Got to give him what he deserves. Price. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here, guys. The price, honestly, this is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of collectors, especially at the time this was announced. This was around like maybe $520 shipped on 1/6 kit. So that was a lot to swallow at the time. Now, collectors are a little more open to the idea. They're a little more receptive to it. That said, I do think the value is actually there with the rooted hair, with the rooted beard. I think that overall, this is a pretty good value. If you think about what customs are going to cost, and now you're seeing what Hot Toys artisan figures are costing, this guy is actually pretty reasonably priced considering the accessories you're getting, and of course, the rooted head sculpt, which is really strong. I got to give InArt credit, guys. Look how good this head sculpt is. I think the price is a win here. I'm going to give this overall price a 4 out of 5. I think it's still a very good value. It's not the best value I've seen ever, but I'm happy with it. Overall, if we're looking at the scoring here, let's talk about the accessories first. Accessories, I mentioned, there is a lot to really love about this figure. So many things that you can do with it. Articulation, it articulates everywhere you're going to want it to. It moves up and down. The shoulders go pretty high. You know, this fabric, you can pose him, do whatever you want with him. The character of Gandalf is super iconic. It's Lord of the Rings. It's a grail. Everyone knows that. It's one of the best trilogy. I think it's the best trilogy ever made. Presence, this guy is amazing. Looks so lifelike on a shelf. Price, pretty good. Let's give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think that's fine. Final score, about a 4.75 out of 5. I think this is figure of the year thus far. I think it just checks all the boxes, to be honest. It's just amazing. So good. Thank you, InArt, for this awesome figure. You guys have delivered an amazing second figure. I think this is even better than the first one. I cannot wait to see Pennywise. I cannot wait to see Aragorn and the Batman and Harry Potter. I really want to see what InArt's going to do next. And this Gandalf has me super excited about the future. So guys, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. That's all for me from now. And I'm just super excited, man. Enjoy the rest of the video. Have a good one, guys. See ya.